But transhumanism is the future of connectedness. It is technology as an extension of ourselves. So how do we get from where we are today to this science fiction future? Well, rarely are there major technological jumps. Technology usually follows a very predictable evolutionary path. And it's the groundwork that's laid by these previous technologies that allow these new levels to be achieved. So for example, the cell phone infrastructure that was created allowed for the rise of mobile computing. And the internet allowed for the rise of social networks and cat videos. Now, I believe that the pace of technology will evolve to the point where biology will become the limiting factor. Now, I believe that the pace of technology will evolve to the point where biology will become the limiting factor. So we've already begun the process of augmenting the capacity of our minds onto our devices. Is that technology is getting smaller, faster, cheaper, and more powerful every day. And in terms of physical size, it's 100 times smaller every decade. And this principle is known as Moore's Law. And it's the idea that technology will grow exponentially or double about every 2 years. And Ray Kurzweil explains it in 30 steps. And if we take 30 linear steps versus exponential steps, so we just do 30 steps to be 1, 2, 3, up to 30. And that's simple, we all know that. But 30 exponential steps, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, by the time you get to 30, you've arrived at 1 billion. And this is the type of growth that enables us to carry supercomputers in our pockets that once used to fill an entire building. And in the future, will allow us to carry computers the size of a blood cell. So let's connect some of these futuristic dots. Let's look at a possible roadmap for the future. For the last few years, Immersive has been researching emotion-aware computing. And in this video, you're seeing that a webcam is able to interpret individual facial muscles. And by training that computer, we can teach it to learn what a smile is, what a negative reaction is. We've trained these machines to interpret and understand human emotions. So currently there's about 1.5 billion cameras that are enabled into your laptops and your cameras and your phones. But over the next 5 years, these numbers will double. And this provides solutions for those with autism. Smart cars that can detect drowsy or distracted drivers, or allow robots to develop a form of synthetic empathy to understand and interpret human intent. But in the near future, your family, your friends will have computers embedded into their clothing, in addition to their wrists and their glasses. But further along the wearable continuum will be things like embeddables, like small sensors that are placed underneath your skin. And as technology becomes smaller, cheaper, and more powerful, 50 billion devices will be connected over the next decade. And the internet will be more like a utility, like electricity. It'll be something you plug into. And this invisible force will connect all of these fragmented systems, becoming a digital nervous system for the planet that you, me, everything we interact with will become a part of. So if that wasn't weird enough for you, Body 2.0 will include artificial eyes with zoom capabilities, infrared sensors, and night vision will be possible. And the prosthetic limbs of the future will be even more flexible and powerful than our original organic limbs that we have today. Retinal implants in a few years will allow the blind to see and recognize faces. And there are already arms that are controlled by human thought using a small implant in the brain. And if you think Inception was just a movie, MIT scientists have implanted memories into mice. They've isolated an individual memory in a mouse's brain and induced recall of that memory by forcing those neurons to fire. And researchers have also been able to pinpoint memories and erase them, eliminating them without affecting other memories. So in the future, it may be possible to remove or implant memories and even treating things like dementia, Alzheimer's, post-traumatic stress, or personal traumas, or other types of neurological disorders.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
You may have watched that scene and said to yourself, this sounds crazy. But bear in mind, people, this is the reality that we are living in 2021. These videos are for entertainment purposes only, but you be the judge and decide if you find relevance in the information provided today. Why transhumanism? Why would we want a world where people are integrated with robots, artificial intelligence, and cloud computing? Well, I did a video some months back, if you may remember, and that video went over the significance of 5G technology. Back then, it was so theoretical and ambiguous that it would be difficult for anyone to see the validity in what was said. However, today, with the evidence of all of the coming changes in our digital world climate and lifestyle, it is clear to see some of the theories that were provided in those videos are in fact substantiated. 5G technology was the synthetic and artificial version of fifth dimensional consciousness. If you are not aware, fifth dimensional consciousness has to do with being connected to a higher intelligence, for which many have given different names. They have called this higher intelligence God, Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, Heru, Olademare, Obatala, and many, many other names throughout different regions, pantheons, years. But this infinite intelligence cannot be denied. It is something that is otherworldly, that many people can feel, but just like air, they can't taste, touch, or smell it. But they know that they are being guided by this infinite intelligence. In fact, some go so far to understand that there is a network behind the scenes that our physical eyes cannot see that is working in our favor to move us forward in our lives. We begin to trust this infinite intelligence. We may even worship this infinite intelligence. We may call this infinite intelligence nature. We see it in different ways, but to give it a general understanding, this network is infinite intelligence. And in this infinite intelligence, people are collectively connected to it. And we gain insights whereby we can upload and download and expand our consciousness to gain greater understanding and to use our minds the way that they were meant to be used. The law of divine oneness states that we are all connected through creation. Every single atom inside of you is connected in some way, shape, or form to the rest of the universe you move through. This means that everything we do has a ripple effect and impacts the collective, not just ourselves. Why is this important? Because as I mentioned, when we talk about fifth dimensional consciousness, when we think of dimensions, most people have it in their head that this is some quantum leap into a different reality. More so, it is when people's minds are attuned to specific ideas, we can create new situations, circumstances, and environments for ourselves. So, when our minds are connected and we create these realities that are going to gratify us, then what happens to a system that is built on certain individuals having advantages over other individuals? Am I making sense to you? When other individuals who have always been touted as the deserving, worthy ones are now being faced and met with the reality that the people that they have created a reality for are no longer accepting that programming, the entire system of control is being threatened. "5G is a cloud-based computing technology designed to support cloud-based computing technology." So, what happens in a situation where you have an overall infinite collective artificial intelligence? Now you have a synthetic version of the original version that is created by nature. This synthetic version can then act as an augmented reality to maintain the status quo. And by being able to maintain the status quo, certain groups of people are able to remain in power, even though in this reality, that truth is crashing to its knees. Of course, is not the only reason for the transhumanism agenda. But we must remember that power is changing hands, that people are waking up in mass amounts and starting to see what they are capable of. As we go on, we will talk about the agenda in totality, but I just want to leave you with this for part 1. And if you got anything out of this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe. I'm going to show you a quick clip from a page that I highly recommend following and that I admire, ODD TV. Let me know what you think in the comments. Join the Patreon for part 2 and 3. And peace. Be safe out here.
People are becoming aware of the massive pedophile rings consisting of major politicians, top officials, Hollywood executives, and celebrities. They are waking up to the fact that transgenders are hidden and sprinkled throughout every major industry in the world, including but not limited to the realms of politics, fashion, music, and movies. The masses are learning that they are being poisoned through their food, their water, and the medicines and vaccines they are given by their medical professionals. They are being mentally conditioned, mind-controlled, and brainwashed by the mainstream media. They are being made targets of weaponized airwaves, chemtrails, and weather manipulation. Made victims of psychological warfare, taxation, a debt-based economic system, propaganda, fear-mongering, for-profit wars, eugenics, false flag attacks, staged events, bread and circus distractions, divide and conquer strategies, legal name fraud, and more. Humanity has been completely inundated with lies, from the history they are taught to the shape of the world that they spend their entire lives living on. The theories of evolution, the Big Bang, heliocentrism, gravity, relativity, outer space, etc. All lies that have been carefully arranged to remove God from the minds of men, women, and children everywhere.